Your brain right now is crafted and composed of your entire existence in this lifetime. Your perception of things is filtered out through lenses of all of the experiences that you have had up until this point of time. So your belief system, the way you see yourself, all is composed of every single event that has happened in history up until now. Psychologically, your brain remembers everything. Whether if you consciously, frontally are aware of it or not, it is still stored in some part of your brain. It just doesn't disappear. So when you are reminded of certain situations that had happened in your past, your brain will go back to that version of yourself that experienced that version that was reminded of and respond accordingly to the relationship that you have with that past version of yourself. For an example, let's say that on your 10th birthday, you were left out at a birthday party. This really bothered you, didn't fully process it, and you took it with you. It's been stored with you in the back of your brain up until this point. Let's say you're 20 years old. And now every single time that you're involved in a circumstance where you feel remotely left out, your brain goes back to that 10-year-old self that was left out at that party and responds accordingly with the behavior that your 10-year-old self would respond to. Whether it's expressed or not, psychologically you still respond like you did the first time you experienced something like that. If you felt an overwhelming sense of sadness when you were left out in present day, that reflects the relationship that you have with that first traumatic experience that you felt when you were 10 years old. That is just one simple scenario that affects one simple circumstance. The way you behave, talk, express yourself, and function in society today is built up upon the layers of your past that have created this kind of like web structure of the way you function in reality today. This is why the past exists, is to build up your kind of mental structure and shape your personality, shape your skills and your mindset to become the person that you are today. Now, if you aren't healed from those past traumatic experiences or circumstances, this can manifest in poor responses and behaviors and activities in your current day. But as many teachers guide us to do, take these past traumatic experiences, flip them around, and turn them into treasure, into skill, into powers. In order to create a true change in the way that you perceive, in order to create a true change in your reality in general, you must go back and change your relationships that you have with your past selves, because they still exist and they still live within you. Your past wires your brain. Your past wires your perception of reality, and it is not permanent. You can go back to your past through meditation, through journaling. You can go back to your past and take those wires and rearrange them to create the preferred reality that you would like to experience today. Take those negative side effects that you received from those past experiences and transmute them into power and potential, because that is the reason why they exist. These things didn't just happen to you just to happen to you. These things happen to you to create the person that you are today, to alchemize them and turn them into gold, to turn them into your purpose, your structure, your meaning. Our past serves as construction, and it is your present day responsibility to choose whether you want to have your past create a lens of disruption for you or a lens of benefit, a lens of skill set. If you don't go back and heal these past projections of yourself, anytime you're reminded of these past circumstances that you went through, you will respond just like you did when you experienced them for the first time. And you will keep doing that on a cycle unless you go back and really pick apart the experience to find the overtone lesson of what you were meant to learn from that past experience, and transmute that and turn that into power and potential. God did not provide you those circumstances to punish you. All of it is to benefit your highest self. All of it is to transform you into your highest potential. We as humans are very layered and complex beings, but the more that you can tap into the power of alchemizing your mind, controlling your mind and controlling your experience, the reality you wish to create for yourself will become much easier to construct because you attain the ability to control the generator of it, which is your mind. Everything you see around you is a projection of what's in here. It goes through multiple layers. By sifting through those layers and by alchemizing the pains and the tribulations of those layers, and by tweaking them, by rewiring those layers of your brain that project what you see around you, if you can rewire the little projector, then you can rewire the screen. So a good meditation I have for this is literally, I like to call it a time travel meditation. If you can trace back the roots of the problem that you are trying to solve, the roots in your past of the problem which you're trying to resolve, if you can trace all the way back to then, and you can sit in silence and sit in meditation and allow yourself to go fully back to that first experience that you had that created this projection that creates this problem, if you can silence your mind and go back to that event that created that problem and sit in it and just observe it for a second and learn from it while you're there, and then shift your perspective of it while you're still in that initial event that created the problem in the first place. If you can sit with it, observe it, be the observer, control your emotions in the moment. Now that you know that this is your second time revisiting that circumstance, that this is not your first time going through it, you don't need to relive the initial emotions that you felt when you first experienced that event for the first time. Now that it's your second time there, you can be the observer and you can observe your emotions and see what comes up and feel the overtone frequency of that. Observe how that creates a problem in the present day. Let it go and continue to be the observer. And next, fill the entire scenario that you are viewing with love. It's always the answer to everything. To fill any traumatic event with love and acceptance. It sounds so basic and fluffy and spiritual, but it works. If you can go back and fill it with love, take the antonym of the emotion that event made you feel. So let's go back to the party that you felt left out in. You're your 10-year-old self and you're sitting at this birthday party and you're sitting in the corner. Everyone else is over there. Let's say you feel confused and hurt. Okay, so that is the overtone emotional frequency of the event that you are going back to and experiencing. Now that you discovered the negative emotion of that experience, take that negative emotion and find the antonym to that. The antonym for confused and hurt would be clarified and healed and happy. Now that you're in this experience, and if you've already filled the entire room, you filled yourself, not only just the room, but yourself with love. Now you're going to fill the entire room and yourself with the antonym of the opposing emotion that you felt before. If you felt confused and hurt before, now you're filling yourself up with clarity, contentment, happiness, healing. You're filling the entire room with that positive emotion as well. And you sit in it, and you sit there and you smile to yourself, grateful that this experience even came to you, because now you're coming out of it with powers. Now you're coming out of it with the alchemized emotion that you're not going to experience this projection of your past self in a negative way anymore. Now when you're at a birthday party and you feel like you're feeling left out again, you're not going to feel confused and hurt because that past projection of you has been rewired. Now you're going to feel clarified and fine with it because it doesn't bother you. That's not a trigger anymore. This is how you rewire triggers in your brain. This is how you rewrite your reality. So most likely you won't even be presented an experience where you are going to feel left out at a birthday party anymore because you don't have that vibration in your brain that's attracting that experience back to you. Most likely you're not going to even experience feeling left out in the first place. So the next time you feel triggered, stop for 1 second. Think about what past projection in my brain, what past part of me is feeling triggered. Because triggers just don't happen out of present moment. A trigger happens from a projection of a past self. So if you're able to stop in that moment where you do feel triggered and you ask yourself, where is this trigger coming from? What part of my past is triggered? Because me, in this present moment, I'm a clean blank state. So my perception of things is what is constructed from the past. So what part of my past can I go back to flip this trigger around and actually alchemize it and turn it into a potential and a skill that I can manifest? Peace.